So about 1 year ago, we had a group of really 30 terrific civic leaders led by Senators Daschle, Lott, Snowe, and Secretary Glickman come together under the auspices of our Commission on Political Reform. And we released a series of about 60 specific recommendations that looked at how we could improve the function of Congress, how we could enhance our elections, and support and promote public service. Today we are here to discuss how our Congress is functioning, which is, one of the significant aspects of this work, and we are aided in this effort by the release of the second installment of our Healthy Congress Index. I will share with you at least my own impression, having reviewed the data, that for the second quarter in a row, the Congress is soaring over the very low bar set by its recent predecessors.
It's a very basic premise to have a number of working days in Washington in order to get the job done and to solve problems and obviously to develop legislation. And so that's why one of our primary recommendations here at the Bipartisan Policy Center with the Commission on Political Reform that we co-chaired was to propose the idea that Congress should be in session for 5 days a week for 3 consecutive weeks, followed by 1 week of a recess in their districts and states. So it gives members of Congress an opportunity to be home. They can go home on weekends, but have a full 5 days in session between Monday and Friday. When I first came to the House of Representatives, I think Tom would underscore this, is that we had, votes 5 days a week, Mondays through Fridays. Today, the schedule is compressed in 2.5 days in a work week. So we have what you would describe as a bed check vote on Monday at 5:30, and by Thursday everybody smells jet fuel, and they're off to the races, putting pressure on the leadership, as Tom and Trent will attest, to adjourn on Thursday so people can, travel to their states or districts or whatever the case may be.
I think our caucuses have really become sort of pep rallies, and we kind of churn up the both sides, and they come rushing out onto the floor, and it's kind of a we-they contest that may not be the best for creating the kind of governance environment that you want. So I would have done, now looking back, more joint caucuses. I would have put a lot more emphasis on the budget process per se. We balanced the budget during the time that we were in the leadership, but I don't think the budget process is working very well.
There are a lot of things we could have done differently, but it was, I think we were there in a special time. I think our relationship helped us get things done. Did we cross each other every now and then? Yeah. But did we find a way to work together and work with President Clinton and with President Bush? Yeah, I think the record reflects that. But I think we've reached the turning point. It's not enough, but they are staying in session a little bit more. They are trying to open up the process. I think the rules, the House has been having too many closed rules, not allowing amendments, or structured rules. But they were, we're having more votes even last year before the Senate. The Senate is moving in the right direction. It was noted that they don't have many conferences. Maybe 1 or 2 in the last couple of years. I think they're probably going to have one on the highway bill of some sort. Maybe they'll have one on energy. So they're beginning, but those conferences were always, I thought, one of the most effective things that we did, where we actually sit down, both bodies, both parties, and hammer out legislation. So they're drifting back to the way it should be. I'm not saying necessarily the way it was.
So, when I was at the Motion Picture Association, one of the CEOs said to me, he says, there's only one absolute guarantee for a successful performing organization. I said, what's that? He says, you got to have a high performance team. You got to work as a team. If you don't work as a team, you'll kill yourself. Things will happen, people will go separate ways, and it won't work. And I think probably the thing that I've seen more in the last 20, 25 years is that the place doesn't operate as a team. Now, it will never operate as a perfect team because you owe your allegiances to your constituents, not to your speaker or not to your majority leader. After all, you're elected by your own people out there. But the reason why these things like working 5 days a week and being in committee are so important is because you're able to connect with people on a human basis. So